Hello, everybody. So, today I want to share something, as per usual, very oddly specific, but something that's a personal favorite of mine, kind of over the years, because there's a lot of different ways to play the different XCOM games out there. I mean, sure, you can play any of the new com games on your phone or your tablet. But hey, sometimes you don't want to drain your phone battery. I mean, those things take forever to charge. You got to leave it overnight to get a full battery. What's plugging it in the car going to do? Maybe you don't want to carry your iPad around or whatever else. And you know what? Maybe you happen to have sold your Vita and you didn't bring along your Switch to play any of those ones. And, well, hey, you still got open XCOM on a bunch of things. Sure, all well and good, but you know what? Sometimes you're in a position like me where, you do you have kind of an odd schedule. You don't know when you're going to have time for anything. You don't know when any of that stuff comes up. Your life is absolute chaos, and you just want to have a tiny device you can just stick in your pants, and you can go have your strategic horror goodness on the go. Well, what you're looking at right here, this is not the one to play when doing that. So you can play UFO Defense on the PSP. It's a bit of a pain in the neck to get set up, because you basically, like most modded PSPs out there would, I would assume anyway, be running 6.61 Pro C or something like that. And so you basically have to go and downgrade that to a vanilla version of 6.60, then get a specific version of that. And then you can run this one on, like, I think it's like 4.20, 5.03, and like three other ones I don't remember for pops. And even then, it'll be an extraordinarily buggy experience. It'll end up crashing half the time and then eventually corrupt your save game. So we're not going to be covering this one because this will crash. I just think the cover art looks pretty. Instead, we'll be covering the one that I've given some custom cover art that I think more accurately represents the standard experience when watching all your people get vaporized over one wrong step. So today we're going to be talking about Terror from the Deep on a PSP. Now this is, don't get me wrong, a completely cursed experience and very oddly specific in terms of why you'd want to play it. Now, why would you carry around PSP in 2022? I mean, there's so many better devices. Sure, you can have XCOM, on your phone or whatever else, but like I said earlier, phone batteries will eventually drain. You leave them on for too long and they'll start cooking, and sure, you can charge them up, but they're going to take ages to charge back up. You probably need them for other things. And so, for example, if I need one to know where I'm going and also need one for work, and then, if I'm trying to run a game in the background, yeah, that's not going to go too great. So I always keep my PSP on me. And, I felt like playing some XCOM the other day, and, of my Switches, my first one ended up getting melted. The second one had an oddly specific issue that needed a part that needed to be shipped from the other end of the world, which is not having a happy time right now. And then it turns out that somebody had basically replaced it with a bunch of fake parts on the motherboard. It's a very long story, but I will say the repair shop that actually returned it to me did a great job of actually keeping their word on the price that they were keeping, as well as adding a 64-bit, adding a 64 gig card in there, which, that's a fantastic find. I didn't have one in there before. Anywho, how well does it actually play on the PSP? Because, as you'd imagine, it's got problems. Now, just so you know, the reason I say this one's better between the two of them, even if they didn't have bugs, UFO Defense's control scheme on PS1 is appallingly bad. In fact, it's one of these cases where, for some reason, they would try to go for this, like, immersive setup where you gotta click the triggers in order to have your person turn 1/8 of a turn at a time. That's fine in theory in terms of setting up the whole horror atmosphere and whatever else. What it isn't great for is when you accidentally, tap the trigger while you're, for example, going to take a bite of a sandwich or something, and then your dude gets eaten by a chrysalid. So that part's not great. Now, yes, I don't remember if they actually have reactions or whatever else. That particular scenario happened to me once because I accidentally hit a trigger, and then the guy just had one turn unit too few to actually fire. So that was a bummer. Now, you do have mouse controls, technically, if you want them. In fact, here's a funny thing. If you want to rename your units, you can only do it through mouse controls, but even then, sometimes it just won't let you do it for some reason. It's strange like that. It's a little bit slow. Like I said, it's certainly a cursed experience going through it like this, but it just feels great to play it on this little thing, Now, load times, they're not fast by any means, and everyone is, by default, locked into an Iron Man run, because you have, well, basically 2 save slots, but you are forced to delete your previous save every time you go through them. You can try alternating them. Good luck remembering which one's which. personally, I just like to view it as two Iron Man saves and, go from there. Probably wouldn't recommend anything along the lines of, let's say, trying to, trying to do a superhuman run on this. By the way, if anyone's curious, I absolutely would love to try that at some point. Because it is a little janky, but, if you're wondering how it even works, you just basically hit square and it jumps you between different menus. And it's just how this works everywhere. If you do point and click, you basically just slowly move your mouse along, and it gets you to all of your usual menus, like just like the original PC version would. These versions do supposedly have some fixes to them. Like, for example, I know UFO Defense would crash if and when you did, like, I think it was like medic research or something like that. Couldn't tell you why. There's a lot of weird quirks to the originals. But yeah, there's a few quality of life changes. Like, I know, Terror from the Deep, it had started the whole thing of being able to open a door by just telling the person to look at it. That's actually in both versions here. And they also added these kind of, I don't know what you'd really call them. They're like crappy cutscenes that they put into UFO Defense. Thankfully, they didn't put them into this one, because I think that's actually what crashes the PS1 version. I would say a solid 50% of the time, you just kind of gotta assume, when you've cornered the last couple of sectoids or whatever, and just kind of save the game and hope for the best, and you get these cool little cutscenes that are just like a bunch of mutons getting blown away, basically. Which is cool, again, the first time you see it, but you see it every single time. So when you have a bunch of back-to-back UFOs, and they're like, hold on, we gotta crash the game 3 times so that you can see these mutons get blown away again, it's subpar. And yeah, this one is more or less a one-to-one of the original. I can't help but notice that, yeah, your original starting people, they're not actually randomized. Not sure what that's about. But for example, you'll always have an Igor Pavlov in there. I don't know if it was that way in the original as well. I actually meant to double check that and completely forgot to. Though another nice bonus from this, PSP memory cards only go up to so big. UFO Defense, due to those cutscenes, is like 500 megabytes. This one's only 70. So that's also nice. Now, as we're going into this fight here, once you get used to the controls, it's actually pretty comfortable, I'd say. A lot more comfortable than I would have expected, actually. But if you're expecting to jump from menu to menu, just completely mastering the movements in each of them, it does have one really bad bug. Now, this might just be due to lag. I actually sped it up this time around, so hopefully it won't run into that. But there's a situation where it feels like it has a third version of every menu that you're looking at. So, for example, if we're on this menu, you can see I'm moving the cursor down here on the bottom. If I hit square, I move over to this other menu. This is usually how most of them are going to end up working. As far as controls and stuff go, by the way, like, say you want to unload this thing, you would need to have a left hand free, so you put that here. You go to this menu, you go to this other menu, you tell it to offload the bullet rounds and tell it to put the fun rounds in there, and then there you go. So it's like the original. It's slower, but it's honestly not bad. Especially once you get used to it, it's actually pretty comfortable, I'd say. The other guy that I need to have running explodey things, because this guy's name sounds like grenade, so I can always remember that he's the one that does the shooty things that make them go boom. Yeah, confusing things on this one. One of the things you'd think they would have done is mark down, for example, which guns can or can't be used underwater, or rather on land. So, for example, the equivalent of the autocannon for Terror from the Deep is I think it's like the hydrojet cannon, and yeah, I loved that thing in the original, but or in UFO Defense. But it does not work in this one. At least it's not. It's one of those weird logistical annoyances that they kind of added in there to make the aquatic theme go, but it doesn't really feel so good in practice, because it's like, hey, I want to use my explodey minigun. No, sorry, you can't do that. You can only use that in the swimming pool over there. So, that's kind of whatever. I think the original did that too. I'm positive that wasn't a PS1 version difference. But yeah, so, loadout takes a few more seconds. That's fine. Again, you are playing this on a tiny little pocket brick, so there's that. Obligatory wait 1 round for everybody to expose themselves. If you're wondering what's going on music-wise, by the way, getting the audio out to work on a laptop is a little bit funky sometimes, so you're not having original audio. That's fine. It's whatever. But the bug I was talking about that I probably should cover at this point, when I say that there's 3 versions of the menu. Sometimes when you hop between different versions, the cursor will get stuck on the corner of the screen, and in some cases, it will tell your person to start walking there. Normally, that'd be a bit of a problem on its own. It gets very unfortunate, though, when it takes it one step farther and decides that, now is probably a great time to, let's say you try to get out of that situation and you told another person to take their turn. Suddenly that person will start gravitating towards that same cursor as well. Other times, like you saw right there, it just will decide that you, that you didn't actually take the kind of shot that you wanted to, so I had to go through that shooting menu a couple of times in order for it to actually register. But oh well. So let's see, do we have Grenade Guy? Yes, we do have Grenade Guy. Can he be the hero here? As once again it decides, no, you haven't decided to shoot. Man, well, that's disappointing. All right, well, these guys are probably toast. It was a good campaign while it lasted. That's fine. Yeah, Terror from the Deep is an odd game. Yeah, you can't select stuff on the corners of the screen. That's a situation. I mean, at least it goes relatively quick when you're selecting stuff from the shoot menu. Yeah, go figure the one guy with the AoE damage is the one that actually manages to land it. Usually they're pretty good about landing their AoE shots. But yeah, turns, they don't go terribly slow. It goes reasonably alright. The AI feels like it's the same. It's Terror from the Deep, so that the maps also don't feel like they're as randomized. I believe they're just a bunch of set maps and things like that. Which is fine, whatever. This is perfect for those situations where you want that XCOM experience on the go, and you want it to be really low impact. If you feel like going through all the trouble of getting UFO defense working, great. If you just want to have, the actual, complicated strategic experience and whatever else, you're really better off, if you only have a PSP, you're better off just going and playing Tactics Ogre. It's not the same genre or anything like that, but, overall, I'd say it's definitely a far cry more strategic than trying to play this on a PSP. But it's a great game, all the same. It's a cursed but wonderful experience is the best way that I'd put it. And if you're wondering, by the way, you don't actually shoot stuff with the triggers. You actually just kind of angle the thumbstick over to the left or right, which feels pretty good. Actually, one thing that does bug me, if I do LR, 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 both of them skip in the same direction for some reason. So you can't select a guy and go back. Very strange decision on that one, but whatever. Again, as with everything else, it just kind of is what it is. Ooh, there's somebody else over here. Oh, another thing, if you're not using the mouse interface, by the way, you can't select that little indicator on the right side. So you just gotta kind of hope you can figure out where the guy is. And that's why Terror from the Deep is better in this regard, because you can have a better idea. Oh, crap. Well, he's dead. Anyway. Good job, guy. Just blast yourself in the face and half the crew with your grenade cannon there. Solid shot. What an amazing shot. That's the true XCOM experience, let's be honest. That's just the way that it goes. I think on this particular campaign I've done this exact map 3 separate times. Last time I was in Miami. And alright, anyway. So that'll be about that. We've firmly established that this is exactly how this game goes. And yeah, then I'll look forward to that one comment telling me about how I shouldn't use gas cannons on everyone, and maybe high explosive ammo isn't great for close range. But you know what? It's fun. The big booms are fun. That's all I can say. You have a great day. Take care, and I hope at least somebody will be tempted to try this janky mess out. Oh, wait! There's actually one more thing. There is one other kind of XCOM experience you can get on the go. Would I recommend it? God, no. But it technically exists. It's actually the same guy that did the original XCOM. If you're just curious, again, for just janky XCOM crap, you can play on a PSP for some reason. If I can remember where my GBA emulator is. Somewhere in this pile of random crap. Where are you? Gonna be down here someplace. Have not played a whole lot of GBA lately, as you can probably tell. So, there is a game, what the hell is it even called? Like, something command. Dang it, I can't even remember the name. I'll remember it when it's on the list. Yeah, Rebel Star Tactical Command. That's what it's called. Is it actually going to show this, or no? Oh, no. Is it not showing? Really? Ah, that's super disappointing. That is super disappointing. Okay, so... Well, that's a bummer. Okay. For some reason, the emulator won't show, but if you want an XCOM game that you can play on a GBA, even, it's Rebel Star Tactical Command. Basically, it's not the actual XCOM experience. It's the same kind of general idea. Like, your movement and menus and stuff like that are going to be very familiar to old-style XCOM. And there's a skirmish map that you can just kind of, actually have that experience. It's kind of like a mediocre story, and none of your story characters are allowed to die, basically. But still, it's kind of impressive that they got that going on a GBA. It's neat. It's a curiosity. It's not really something that you're probably going to be spending all your time on. Either way, that's my completely worthless TED Talk on essentially a dead console on top of another dead console that you can hopefully keep still functional with tape in 2022, and yeah, hopefully the batteries don't explode on you. Actually, apparently the batteries physically cannot explode. They can just expand. All right, you have a good one. Take care, and well, I'll see you next time.